Well, third Splatfest down, and with it, there were some good things and there were some bad things. So, how are we going to review the Splatfest? That's right, we're just jumping straight into it today. We're going to break it up into a few different categories: theme, player diversity, matchmaking, Tricolor, and what this Splatfest could have been. So, the theme in my opinion was like fine-ish, riding pretty close to subpar, which sucks because it didn't have to be. Theme and player diversity go pretty hand in hand, so if I had to sum up both of these in one question, it would be, where is Team Sour? Sour had a grand total of 15.41% of the players on its team. Meanwhile, Sweet had 56.84% of players. Initially, I really liked the theme of the Splatfest, however, my initial fears were also realized when we got the actual result and saw how shockingly low the amount of people were on Team Sour. There has quite literally never been a Splatfest where the teams have been this low of like a drastically low player count. It's no one but Nintendo's fault. The addition of a third Splatfest team was supposed to bring the team sizes down a bit to lower the mirror matches, yet 2 out of the 3 Splatfests we've had have just been loaded with mirror matches because Nintendo can't seem to land on a solid 3-team Splatfest concept. My little theory as to why Nintendo made the choice to go with Team Sour instead of something like a Team Salty, which would have done much better in Western regions, is because sour food is so much more popular in Japan than it is over here. And because of Nintendo's choice to go with a taste less popular over in the West, we have a Splatfest team failing to get even 16% of the votes. Like, honestly, let me know in the comments if you would have gone on a hypothetical Team Salty instead of whichever team you were on. I know I would. Spicy versus sweet versus salty, I could only imagine how much closer the player pools could have been. But besides that, how was the matchmaking? Well, if you were on Team Sour, I bet it was pretty good. But if you were on the other 84.59% of the population, I bet it could have been a lot better. Because no matter what team you chose, you were going to be fighting Team Sweet damn near all of the time, especially if you were on Team Sweet. The mirror matches were depressingly common on Team Sweet, like every other match was common. Often multiple times in a row, really. From what I heard, Spicy was up against Team Sweet more times than not, which isn't unexpected. So I think I've made my point pretty clear for what I've been going for with theme and matchmaking. But I've got one more thing about matchmaking before we move on. Did anyone else notice a ton of draw matches with people leaving way too early on in the match? Like, it was seriously bad for the first day and the last rotation of the last day. Obviously, this can be blamed on the influx of Christmas noobs and Nintendo not knowing how to handle this sharp uptick in people. Yeah, this whole Splatfest was a real Nintendo moment. Okay, Tricolor, I swear Nintendo is their own worst enemy when it comes to this damn mode. Like, they made 2 steps forward with Tricolor, and then some other decisions they made sent them 3 steps back. I bet Spicy and Sour had a much better time in this Tricolor mode due to the smaller teams, but for the majority of people, the Tricolor mirror matches were insane. I played more mirror matches in Tricolor than I did normal Tricolor, and I bet it's because everyone on Sweet had a pretty similar situation. Eventually, I just stopped playing Tricolor entirely because I wanted to win actual matches and help my team. But outside of that very much dragging the mode down, Tricolor had some serious improvements this time around. Making any team able to go offense or defense was the right decision, and I can only imagine the arguments that took place inside of Nintendo that got them to break one of their visions of the mode for the sake of the mode's survival. The guaranteed matchmaking into Tricolor is long overdue of an addition, but better late than never is a massive understatement, and I'm so happy we have it now. As for how the mode played on Undertow Spillway, defense was once again at an advantage, I feel. It was super easy for D to keep control of the signal as well as reach into the offense's territory. But this map, in my opinion, wasn't nearly as broken as Tricolor was on Hammerhead during the first Splatfest. Like, it wasn't that unfair, just a bit more of a challenge for offense than what we really saw in the revamped Sturgeon during the Pokemon Splatfest. But honestly, it didn't really matter that much in this Splatfest, since any team could be on offense or defense. So, no more complaining that Tricolor sucks if you get stuck on the side of the map disadvantage. So overall, good things from Tricolor in the Splatfest. It didn't get to reach its full potential due to the teams being so off balance. So to finish off on one more controversial note, let's talk about what this Splatfest could have been. So after experiencing this January Splatfest with horribly unbalanced teams, can we agree that Nintendo should have put the extra work in to make this Splatfest a Frosty Fest now? Or is there still too much Nintendo shilling and allowing them to not give us their all for Splatfests? Because we're on Splatfest number 3 of the 5 months this game has been out. Splatfests are less frequent now. It's a stupid fact of the game that we apparently need to accept. But if they're going to be rarer, then Nintendo needs to give them a reason for them to be rare. If Splatoon 2 could pump out a new map every single month, for 2 years straight, as well as 4 different square variations throughout the game's life, then there's no excuse for 3 not being able to do something similar. Common arguments I've heard have been, well, Frosty Fest in Splatoon 2 took place during the game's second year. There's no reason to do one yet since it was done to get the old players to come back to the game. So you're telling me that we can let Nintendo improve on something in Splatoon 2 and then completely 180 on something they made better because it doesn't make the most financial sense for them? I'm sorry, am I hearing that us consumers need to not push the billion-dollar corporation for the best content they can give us? Why exactly? We paid $60 for this game. We saw Splatoon 2 do something better than its sequel is doing. That's just not acceptable. Another argument I've heard is, well, doing a square redesign in 3 is going to be much harder since the square is bigger than it was in 2. See, that would be a valid argument if they also had to design a new stage for the Splatfest 2 like they did in Splatoon 2. They don't anymore. They've got the extra resources to make some snow and some freaking Christmas decorations. So ask yourself now, was spicy versus sweet versus sour really the Splatfest you wanted here when you know there's nothing stopping Nintendo from giving a Frosty Fest besides them being lazy? So to give a final grade, which by the way I'm not letting my animosity of this not being a Frosty Fest impact this grade. I don't like that there was no Frosty Fest, but my monkey brain's big enough to judge this for what it was as a Splatfest and compared to the previous 2 Splatoon 3 Splatfests. So if I had to give the Splatfest a grade out of 0 to 10, I'd give it a 5.5. It's definitely better than Gear v Grub v Fun, but it's not on Pokemon Splatfest level. I feel that Pokemon Splatfest has been the best one so far. If Nintendo didn't fix Tricolor this Splatfest, I would have given it a 3. The teams and the matchmaking is something that Nintendo is constantly messing up on. I'm sick of getting stuck with constant mirror matches because I want to choose the team I agree with. The Tricolor improvements were the best thing the Splatfest had going for it, and they were great. If the Splatfest had the team distribution that the Pokemon Splatfest had, I probably would have given the Splatfest an 8.5 or a 9. Nintendo just can't seem to put the pieces together, and it sucks. I want a super good Splatfest again. Hopefully this can be a wake-up call for Nintendo that they need to work on their Splatfest concepts. Different taste is a great idea for a Splatfest, but sour isn't a common thing enjoyed in the West, and the Splatfest is a prime example of that being true. The pieces are all there for Nintendo to give us a Splatfest better than we had in Splatoon 2, and if they learned their lesson now, then I'm excited for what the next Splatfest is gonna be. I don't want a 5.5 out of 10 Splatfest. I want Nintendo serving up those consistent 8s and 9s like they did in Splatoon 2. Nintendo didn't get a lot right with Splatoon 2, but damn it, they got those Splatfests right almost every time. But anyways, what do you guys think about the Splatfest? Did you enjoy it? If you were on spicy or sour, would you rate the Splatfest any higher? Give me all of your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. Like, it's probably not healthy, but I still read them all every time. Alright gamers, that's it from me. See ya.